fight-by-fight breakdowns discussing the biggest names in combat sports. What's going on, Cougs? I'm your host, Justin Estuart, joined by...
I'm Edwin Campos.
Now let's roll with the punches for this round of In the Game. To begin, UFC 260 has unfolded, and man, Francis Ngannou is now the first UFC heavyweight champion from Africa after knocking out Stipe Miocic in their long-awaited rematch. Edwin, how do you assess Ngannou's performance and your thoughts on a potential Jon Jones matchup?
I was blown away. I couldn't believe how much Francis had improved. You know, seeing him be patient and have takedown defense was, it answered all the questions that we had going into this rematch. Honestly, I was blown away. I don't think anybody can take those kind of punches, not even Jon Jones. I don't know if Jon Jones can be smart enough to avoid all those getting hit clean for 5 rounds. You know what I mean? So that's something we're going to see. That fight is a 50-50 fighter for me. But I think Francis got, he got the skills now to be able to get that done.
100%. Listen, Ngannou beat the champ to become the champ. I'm not sure if Jones versus Ngannou is next right away because I hear chatter of a title defense against Derek Lewis. But the way I see Ngannou versus Jones is it all boils down is if Ngannou chin checks Jones right away, or will Jones strategically pinpoint and strike Ngannou? So overall, I see this fight only happening if both sides agree to a suitable purse split since both are big names. But moving on to the sport of boxing, there seems to be a significant traction towards a Manny Pacquiao versus Terrence Crawford pay-per-view showdown in June. Edwin, who do you like in this fight, Pac-Man or Bud?
I think this is going to be a very, very difficult fight for Pacquiao to win, being 42, 43 years old at this point and having not fought in over 2 years. This is a difficult fight for Pacquiao. You got to favor the champion, Terrence Crawford. However, I'm happy that Terrence is finally getting a big fight. There's been the big knock on his resume recently that he doesn't have enough quality opponents. Now he gets a huge name, and Pacquiao takes a huge risk in taking this fight. So I'm favoring Crawford, but I'm happy that this kind of fight is finally happening.
Agree with your point. It's a phenomenal fight between 2 elite welterweights. You really can't misconstrue that Pac-Man is because he's been obviously having a continual more than 20 years in the sport. But I'd say age can certainly put a constituent for Manny since he hasn't fought in 2 years. And it is against Bud Crawford, and he's undefeated. So this is Bud Crawford's first marquee matchup at welterweight, and ultimately Crawford should be the favorite. But I'm not sure to how Crawford reacts to when Manny throws his flurry of punches. And the only way Crawford, I see him winning is if he's able to catch Manny and hit him on the canvas. So until then, we shall see. But to close the show, it looks like Boxing Hall of Famer Oscar De La Hoya is in line for a boxing ring return after 12 years. Rumor has it De La Hoya will be facing a notable UFC fighter on July 3rd on Triller. Edwin, how do you make of this recurring theme of retired fighting stepping back in the ring?
Oh, man, I think it's crazy. I think they might have seen what Mike Tyson did and see that, you can kind of not exactly fight for real, these guys, and still rely on your name value. What's funny is what Dana White's reaction to this situation. He said, "Don't ask me these silly questions." You know what I mean? So I think it's unlikely that he let a current active UFC fighter, fight in boxing, let alone De La Hoya. But I think he could probably get, a retired fighter, someone like Anderson Silva, who was coming back as well. Someone like that, Tito Ortiz, someone like that, I think, might be able to sneak in a fight with De La Hoya.
Listen, my whole standpoint on this is these fighters want to feel young again. They want to get the paycheck. And if there's a lot of zeros on the end of it, they'll do it. And all in all, it's really an exhibition. So I can't really assess this scoop in a serious manner. So at the end of the day, if it makes dollars, it makes sense. All right, Cougs, that's all for this week's episode of In the Game. Edwin and I want to thank you for tuning in. And once again, I'm Justin Estuart, and you're watching In the Game.